Good evening, everyone out there. Welcome to the Funbox Monster Podcast. My name is Tristan, and I am joined by...
Hi, I'm Matt Awkward.
Matt Awkward. Jumped the gun there, but that's fine.
I couldn't wait to talk about this movie.
I know, you are so excited about Warlock 2, The Armageddon.
Which I kind of picked.
Yeah.
Because you were like, what movie should we do this week? And I'm like, Warlock. And you're like, we've
know,
done it.
You know we did Warlock, right?
And I was like, nope.
No, there's no way. I don't remember that.
So then you're like, how about Warlock 2? And I was like, yes.
Yes.
I like that movie.
The Armageddon. I love these movies, but this one obviously has a lot of problems, and it is also from a very... I don't want to say problematic so that it sounds like it's some sort of racist thing, but I mean problematic in the filmmaking where it's like... It's in a shitty era for computer animation. Also, this director has one shot that he cannot stop using over and over and over again.
What's that?
It is one person's face very close up on the side, and then someone way in the background. Foreground, big half a face. Background, person standing in full body.
He also likes doing full mouth shots a lot.
Jesus, yeah. There's a lot of weird shots.
But yeah,
again,
like you said about
badly made movie. Just
No.
he makes weird choices. Is really all.
it's it's in that computer age where it's just like just because you can now doesn't mean you should, because it's not there. It's obviously getting there.
Right.
Like,
yeah. I mean this.
But at the same time, can you really fault him for that? Like, it's just
No, you can't.
Fuck, why not try something different?
Right.
You know what I mean? Or you got the shit, go for it.
He's excited about the technology, the time. I mean, it definitely has that same kind of feel of when somebody was working on a 3D movie.
It's an A for
like,
effort.
hey, this thing we have now. It's like we can do 3D now, and it's like, okay, so I'm not mad that you had somebody with a ping pong paddle and you're like whacking a ball into the screen or making popcorn or any of that shit. It's like it's fun and silly, but
Or those early days of CG where they tried making the creatures with the CG and it looked like everybody was real except this one person from Reboot suddenly showed up.
Always the worst. I mean, and there's none of that. It's just they're manipulating real objects with computer animation, which looks better. At least the baseball, and then they did fake stuff with the motorcycle. But
Oh my god.
that was the worst. I mean, it didn't even make sense. Like, who fucking cares?
It would have been great if she couldn't use the bike later on in the movie. Like, he's like, I made all the parts come off and spin around, but I don't know how to build a motorcycle.
Okay. And honestly, if that had happened, it would not be surprising considering the unspoken undercurrent of this film is that the dude sucks and is completely incompetent.
Yeah.
And like it's like you basically have him and he's like Jimmy Olsen and she's Superman and they're like, Jimmy, get out there and fight Doomsday. And he's like, okay, boss, I sure am the one trained as a warrior. And she's like, yeah, I'm like choking people with the Force. I'm like throwing shit. Like she is, before she's even killed and reborn, she has amazing psychic powers. And this guy didn't. Also, if she had psychic powers and could do all this shit before she was even killed or reborn or whatever as the ultimate warrior, oh god, that would have been a different movie. Especially when they made out in the. I'm picturing it now. It's still hot.
Did the Ultimate Warrior talk?
Oh, he talked.
He talks. I can't remember his voice at all.
I mean, he had.
I haven't watched wrestling since the 90s. So
like
it's
all of those guys. He had one of these voices.
Oh, okay.
He just kind of talked like this. And he just kind of screamed. But he's the one that would say, like, you know, he's the one that cocaine really affected badly. Because he would just say crazy shit. Because they'd improv all that stuff. And he's like, I'm in a spaceship. And it's powered by the blood of the saints. And they've told me that I'm going to defeat the Macho Man. And it's like, oh, God. Okay, are you all right? Like,
do you want to do another take? Another line? Yes!
He has more cocaine, please. Yeah, so he was a fucking fucking maniac. Also a racist, but that's a whole other story. And fucking coke heads of the 80s who are doing tons of steroids. It's hard to find any of them that didn't do some terrible shit back then.
Jeez.
And speaking of digressions, this movie called Warlock The Armageddon. No, but she had all these amazing powers before she could do this. It brings up what I think is the biggest failing of this movie. If these three ding-dongs, these three old guys, are like, well, eventually we're going to need to train him, but let's wait until a week before he shows up. It's like, dildo, train this guy since childhood, since infancy. Get him ready. At least make him able to throw a knife, let alone, teach him to meditate. Give him martial arts classes. Something. But fucking give him protein shakes or something.
They all dropped the ball in that, and it's like, if they were so concerned with this, and they were defenders of the, I don't know what the fuck they were, druid protectors of the earth, like...
You make it sound like a 90s Saban series.
Druid protectors from San Francisco! It's
Druid protectors! Protectorize!
One person puts on sunglasses.
We didn't really have Power Rangers money for this one. I'm sorry, everybody.
But no, if they were really these druid protectors that took this shit seriously, and the Warlock only comes on the, fuck all, whatever that eclipse was, that it's like, they've got star charts, and they know this stuff. Like, this date's coming.
Yep.
And it's like, what's his nuts? Glover's dad there, the preacher in this movie, he just buried his head on everything. He was just like, I'm just gonna ignore this eclipse. He ignored it even harder than the other guys.
Right. Well, at least with Bruce Glover's character, you were like, okay, he's like experiencing psychological trauma because of the idea that he's going to, like, I think that the mother died.
Both of their mothers died in childbirth.
Right. Yep. And he lost his mind when that happened because now the daughter represents the wife that he lost, and so he's like, I'm not going to lose her too, and so he went a little crazy. His motivation to me is pretty rock solid.
Okay.
Like, I think I'm okay with him going crazy. It's especially because you choose Bruce Glover for a character, and you're like, well, there's going to be something kind of askew about this guy.
Well, he's in total denial world, though. Like,
oh, absolutely, he is in total denial. And
but it's like.
There was the moment when the fucking rune burned into the bird, and I was like, okay, dude, come on. Shut the fuck up.
But it's like, it's one thing to be in denial and, like, put things off, but, like, this is the literal end of the world. You just can't ignore that. It's not going to blow over.
I agree. Hey, listen, man, talk to Bruce Glover.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. But yeah.
But it's okay. You can save the whole world with headlights, so no big deal. No worries.
Yeah, but those were like special headlights.
Those are custom.
Like fancy KC lights.
That wasn't factory shit, man.
Yeah. Those are for spotlighting deer to illegally poach them.
Or kill the son of Satan.
Actually, those ones were the specific kill the son of Satan package that he got at the dealership.
Get the Satan killer roof rack lights. You never know when you'll need them.
Toyota-thon this year. A very special Toyota-thon going
Deadly upside down eclipse is coming.
Yep, absolutely.
Be prepared.
Was it upside down? Was that the deal?
It came up from the bottom.
Ooh, okay.
That doesn't happen.
No, that's not how planets work. Okay, so let's go.
Okay.
Movie starts, we see a lunar eclipse. Or a solar eclipse, actually. And Warlock The Armageddon comes up on the screen. Pretty cool little title sequence. It looks pretty gorgeous. And then we get this text crawl, which I'm like, oh no. Well, it's just a panel of words.
Dude, this made me want to scream. Because you're just watching the action, and every 15 seconds, freezes to put up text stuff. It's like,
but again, it's another one of those things where it's like he got Kai's power tools, in a time when these kind of fun little effects things were around, and he's like, look, it looks like a Renaissance painting.
No, it doesn't.
Well, here's the thing. You didn't shoot it to look like a Renaissance painting. Yeah, you didn't have a moment where someone was being stabbed with a lance and a woman was screaming in the background or whatever. You paused randomly.
Yeah.
Every shot was like a horse. It's like a guy's neck.
Yeah.
Like a rock.
And after
It's
like the
those
first,
don't look like paintings. Nobody painted just a fucking rock and a horse.
and after the first 3 pauses, I was just like losing my shit. I was like, stop, just go.
Yeah,
It's not that interesting. You're
It's
pausing
not.
on nothing interesting. So it's just like, it's almost like your DVD skipping, like
It feels
or like buffering. You know what I mean? When you're
Yes.
watching a streaming thing
Yeah.
and it's like it stops for a second.
Yep.
That's to catch up. That's what it feels like.
Totally agree.
Yeah, that's what I want to watch. Buffering.
Yep. And that barely takes away from the pain of the fact that these guys all had the worst wigs I've ever seen in an actual film. Some real awful fucking, like, right off the rack JCPenney wigs from the old lady section. Not so good. But whatever. Okay, so what the blah 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 is that's going on in the text crawl here was some crap about druids assembling runes, doing a sacrifice to ward off the Armageddon. And then we cut to the old time historical recreationists. There's a pregnant lady on a block. She's possessed of the devil or something. Her eyes are all white. And then the runes start floating over her stomach, and she's unpossessed. So, yay!
I guess they saved her.
Saved her for the moment. Yes, they saved her. It's like if they'd been there for this first lady later on, they would have stopped it.
But how did she get pregos in the first place with the devil baby if they had all the stones and the birthstone is what makes...
Why did they put the birthstone on her in the first place?
Yeah. Is that what they were supposed to do? Like, birth Satan, but then be like, fooled you, no birth.
I don't know.
I feel like the birthstone is not explained in this movie well. It just...
No, that being the clutch
it's wonky.
item is a little wonky. That part of the mythos is not really explained too well. So yeah, I agree. That is very odd. But either way, she's possessed, she's unpossessed, but then unfortunately, just as she gets unpossessed, a bunch of marauding pagans? Marauding conquistadors?
Sure.
Guys with weird... The only reason we know that they're tied to Julian Sands is that one of them is wearing a shitty Julian Sands wig, which is very funny. The guy with the funny bob. I liked him. But whatever. It's so... The Warlock is thwarted, at least for the time being, but now some of the stones have been stolen. They held on to 2 of them.
Yep.
So...
Oh, that's right. The Marauders take the stonies.
And those 2... This is the thing that's irritating. Okay, so... God, this is gonna be weird to cut back and forth constantly, but, like... So those 2 stones are the 2 stones that those fucking ding-dongs have. So those 3 druids, later on...
Yep.
They've got those 2 stones because the druid community held on to those 2 stones for that time.
Okay.
So for 700 years, these a-holes have been not looking for the other stones. Like somehow they've just they've gone into the hands of other collectors.
They've gone to Fashion Week and they've gone to fucking freak shows.
Exactly. It's not as though they're like they were hard to find. One of them was at a circus and a guy was going to sell it for $75.
Yeah.
It's like...
And it's like,
look
let alone
for these things.
Let alone not hard to find. How did they even still exist?
Right.
Or how does anybody even know? They seem like something that would just get lost over time. Nobody's taking care of them.
They're ugly as shit, and everybody treats them like they're amazing. It's,
yeah.
Oh, well. Okay, so we cut to the present day after all of this nonsense, and we find ourselves at a high school play. We're watching 2 young actors acting badly on purpose, or maybe not.
Okay, so let me just get this straight. One of the actors is a bully. In a way,
the idea
he's also head of the drama team.
This is a weird dude.
Yeah,
he's like clearly like he's wearing a letter jacket, so he's like the fucking captain of the football team.
he's also lead in Romeo and Juliet.
He also likes mudding in his
gigantic truck,
pickup truck with a rack of KC lights, ostensibly for like hunting off season. Like he's a hillbilly jock drama nerd bully.
It's like It's like
he must beat himself up every day. Like
it's like the director never went to high school. Like, I don't know how. This is what kids do, right?
Right.
They play football and they act in movies and they drive big trucks.
Every single click is like this guy's in every one of them. But yeah, that's what happened.
Surprised he didn't pop in to play chess with him later on.
Right, exactly. It's like,
this will help me practice for the chess finals this week.
Listen, you fucking nerd. If you use the Queen's Gambit one more time, I'm gonna punch your fucking teeth in. Yeah.
I'll flip you off from stage.
But either way, we clearly have an actual drama nerd who's up in the wings, running the big spotlights, and the two leads are about to kiss, and he freaks out and breaks a freaking $10,000 light.
Yeah.
Like, everything shorts out, and they're like, silly kid. And it's like, those are running a shit ton of power through them. Yeah. Make sure he's okay and the place doesn't burn down. Like, when sparks like that happen.
Sorry, got jealous.
Yeah, like, that's terrifying. But yes, he's jealous of either we don't know if it's the jock or the girl at this point. Could be either. He could be into him.
It's the girl.
But it turns out it is the girl. It would have been much more interesting if it was the other way around. So
it's 93, bro.
That's true. And that's right. Yeah, that would not have flown in 93. But the girl looks kind of like a low rent Jennifer Connelly.
She totally does.
And this guy looks like somebody who's been in every 80s movie ever, and I was like, no, I've seen this guy in stuff. Nope, it's not him. Like, I just assumed he was like the lead.
He's got a great mullet.
Oh, the jock. Sorry, I was thinking of the nerd.
Oh.
Our main character nerd. Her name
Kenny.
is he's Kenny, she's Sam. Those are the two characters. Yeah. But yeah, he has that look of like a
young Anthony Michael Hall in Breakfast Club.
Yeah. Like that, one of those kind of guys, and he is not apparently one of those kind of guys. Should have had a huge career, but I guess in the 90s they didn't need guys like that.
Born in the wrong decade.
Yeah, totally. Because great actor. Whatever. Okay, so the director's like, I need to talk to you afterwards. We never get that wonderful conversation where he gets mad at him. But fake Jennifer Connelly's dad comes to pick her up, and he's a reverend, and he is played by
Bruce Glover.
Yes. One of the creepier Glovers.
Who eerily looks so much like Crispin.
So have you been watching the new Del Toro show?
No, I haven't seen any of it.
So Crispin Glover is in one of them, in one of the funnier ones, because he's got a hilarious Boston accent, and it's really ridiculous.
Oh, cool.
It's hilarious. Like, they keep playing this Boston accent as though it's creepy, and it's just like, it sounds like two guys having a fight at a Dunkin' Donuts. And I love it. I think they're all great, honestly. But Crispin is in it, and he looks just like Bruce Glover in this.
Yeah.
Like, he looks...
As he gets older, he looks more and more like him. Yeah.
So much like his dad. Like, it's creepy. It's like, it's eerie how much they look alike.
Yep.
So, weird. But, you always need a Bruce Glover around. I hope that he's had a kid so that there'll be another one. We need more. We're going to need them in the future.
I don't think Crispin has any kids.
God, our strategic reserve of
Crispin is completely
Glover
empty.
Depleted. Crap. That's terrible. Okay, so whatever. On her way out, she glances meaningfully at the spaz who burned out the lights, and clearly she has a thing for Kenny. Mm-hmm. That two of them are in a thingamajig.
But she's supposed to be with the other guy.
Mm-hmm. Kenny walks away from this situation and is immediately blinded by the huge KC lights of a big hick-ass pickup truck driven by that jock from the play. He's here to tell Kenny to stay away from Samantha. We don't need your devil-worshipping Satan devil boy crap around here. She's a Jesus girl. Ugh, and then he beats him with a comic book, and I was like, hey, that's a little on the nose, motherfucker.
I feel personally attacked.
I feel personally insulted by that. Bet you wish you were a superhero now.
What? I also think it's funny that...
Please, that was an 8-ball comic. I wish I was Evan Dorkin. No, that's not Evan Dorkin.
What, why was he a Satanist? Like, that's what his dad has
Because his dad runs an occult shop.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Because that was an occult bookshop, the thing that looked like it was written with a Sharpie on that big piece of wood.
Oh, okay. Like Ray's occult. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, the Ray's occult that he runs. So that's why he called him Devil Boy.
And I also find it funny too because like he doesn't wear anything satanic. He didn't look like Kid from Trick or Treat or anything.
No,
it's just like, hey, it's like so yeah. So this jock redneck thespian insults the very clean cut looking Satanist.
Yeah, whatever. This town is crazy. But
it's about to get crazier.
It sure is. It's interesting how these big KC lights are very bright. Did you notice how bright they were? They're super bright.
They would blind the son of Satan.
Do you think that those could defeat Satan? I bet they could.
It's funny though. It's not until second watch that I actually noticed the lights. So like, or was like, oh, they are foreshadowing.
Yeah.
Something with this. But like, you would never think that if you hadn't seen the ending first. Like, you're just like, wow, this truck's got lights. This is part of the scene. He's lighting up the scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those things where it's one of those little seeds that you plant in a script, but like it was such a normal thing that it didn't draw attention to itself enough that I feel like it had any impact at the end.
It's not like the bully was like, "Hey, do you see my light rack? I bet that could kill like son of Satan."
That's the way that's the way you should write that scene. But
I'm too on the nose. That's why I don't write movies. I could never have twists.
Michael
or
Bay
surprises.
would love to make one of your screenplays. He thinks that you're obfuscating too much.
Yeah.
So
got this crazy gun. You know, it could probably shoot through like 10 people at the same time.
Well, there's 10 terrorists here, though. I don't know. Fuck. Anyway, okay. So. Kenny's dad walks back to his weird pioneer bookstore, antique shop, Satan, whatever, and he witnesses a crazy lightning strike on a tree next to him, or something that looks.
It's some weird tree that's got like a fence around it, like.
Yeah, I don't know. It might have been a sculpture or something. I don't know, but either way, it gets struck by lightning in a weird way. And all of the sawdust pours out of the center of it and forms this rune, which is the sign of the coming of the Warlock.
Which is also what Glover was drawing in the car, waiting for his daughter to come out of the play, because he was just like,
"Oh shit, I did not notice that.
I'm gonna keep drawing this symbol of this thing that I know is gonna happen, that I'm gonna completely ignore. That's probably gonna, destroy the planet."
That's his subconscious coming up.
Yeah,
telling him about this stuff. Okay, so
also, how does an occult bookstore survive in a small ass hick town like this?
Super religious hick town like that's full of like weird like 1600s like fucking I don't know.
Like something goes down and like the entire city is at the church. The entire town is at the church. Like
entire town is at the church. Entire town is willing to kill someone, burn them alive for witchcraft. Like these guys are straight up pilgrims.
But
like,
he can run a cult bookstore.
Yeah, he's
okay.
Lots of mail order, I guess.
Works for you.
I mean, he doesn't have anything for sale there. You notice, it's just like it looks like the place that got turned into the Troll's Den in Troll. You know what I mean?
It's one of those retired guy hobby store things, then I guess. When you go in there, it's like an antique shop at somebody's house, and it's like they don't need this. They're just
sure. But when you walk into that place, there's a table.
Yeah.
That there's a bunch of old guys drinking coffee at, and worshiping Satan or whatever.
That's what they do.
There's a bunch of plants hanging from the ceiling, and that's about it. Like there's nothing for sale in that building.
Good, because nobody's buying.
Well, I mean, nobody's gonna buy anything anyway. I guess it doesn't matter. So we cut to a lady getting almost naked. We almost get nudity.
This movie,
but then we focus on a dog instead.
This movie
much more interesting.
Dwells in the almost nudity. It's weird. Like they just keep slipping in nip slips every now and then, like really really fast.
Yep.
Like,
and like I really thought we were gonna get full frontal Warlock here. Like I thought he was gonna.
We almost got Julian Sands noodle.
I mean, he got so fucking ripped for this movie.
Yeah.
Like when you see him, because he's like he's one of those kind of gothy like.
You think he got ripped for this? I think it was just that's how he
just is always. I always think of him as kind of like a, like he's in good shape, but he's not big.
It's deceptive.
But like he had like his
he's
arms
ripped.
were fucking ripped.
Yeah.
Weird. I don't know.
But yeah, this movie, this girl like walks by. It's like, here's a boob for like half a second. Then it's like at the fashion
covered by
hair. Then it's like at the fashion show. It's just like, here's half a boob under a shirt for like half a second. It's almost like they were telling him to put nudity and he didn't want to.
He didn't want
and he was just like, there, did it.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think that is something. I think that absolutely. I'm sure that he was told by the retailers and all of that stuff for rental markets,
sex sells, like
that if it doesn't say R for nudity, profanity, violence, blah blah blah, like you need to have all the check marks.
I was that kid standing for that.
Of course you were. I mean, everybody is.
Rated R for language and violence. Nah.
Yep. I mean, but that is absolutely.
Yep.
It is a selling point.
Yeah.
And there were definitely going to be people who weren't going to rent this if it didn't have that on there. So, it's it's
good point.
It's just part of the business model, unfortunately. So. She's
talking to her dog.
She's talking to her dog about whatever's going on, and she puts on her necklace, which is the birthstone.
And she says it's a family heirloom.
Sure.
Okay, she's gonna get killed anyway.
She's of course going to get killed.
But we never get any connection with her and the druids or anything, other than it's a family heirloom. Yeah. But again, nobody seems to be giving a shit about these things, so it could just be a knick-knack passed down, and she has no idea how. The real power of it, which is the case.
True. You'd think
or else she probably wouldn't be putting a birthstone around her neck at the dawn of the eclipse.
That's so true.
She's like the dumbest member of her bloodline.
That's exactly what happened. She was like, man, whatever.
Her stomach's all blowing up. She's like, I'm so bad at accessorizing.
Yes, and that's what happens. So she gets super pregnant.
This scene, man. Oh my gosh.
Brutal. An evil force holds her to the table and her eyes go white, and a big slimy supernatural hair clog shoots out of her coochie and then eats her dog. That little pile of like
the first of unnecessary animal killings in this. Like
this was a trend in the 90s, I think, where like people hated those little dogs.
Oh yeah.
Like
everybody was kicking those things in the movies back in the 90s.
Yeah, everybody. It's again kind of one of those zeitgeisty things where like these toy animals that were like, the birth of the purse dog.
Yep.
Like those kind of things. And so people were having a reaction to it emerging into the zeitgeist where they're like, I wish someone would kick one of those yappy little dogs. And then here's your wish fulfillment.
Gotcha.
Julian Sands eats one.
Yeah. So his blob, kills the dog when it comes over.
His like little like gremlins, like it's very like the sloughed off gremlin goop.
Yeah.
It looks like
it looks great.
When Stripe melts.
Yep. Only this time it blows up and it inflates and out of the membrane comes naked Julian Assange with his noodle hanging out.
Not Julian Assange, unfortunately.
Oh, whoops.
Would have been funny.
Julian Assange.
Although I gotta say there is a similarity between Julian Assange and Julian Sands.
I mean Julian Sands with his noodle hanging out.
Yep.
I prefer the Sands.
Yes, of course. Yeah. When did Julian Assange ever make a Warlock movie?
Exactly.
Never. So, yes. So he calls her mother a bunch of times, which is super gross.
Yeah.
And then there's probably the wackiest scene in the whole movie. She locks herself in the bathroom. She's like, fuck, I hate this guy that came out of me somehow. And he floats up. And he's looking in. This bathroom has a little window at the top. I can't remember what those things are called.
It's a window on top of the door.
Yeah. But so he's like looking in there, and he's like, "Mother,
Mommy, let me in.
Let me in." And then she's like, "Fuck you! I hate you." And he goes, "Where?" And her ears explode. Yeah. when he says "wah," that was fucking weird.
Yeah.
That was
It was awesome. He was a baby for a second. Imagine if he was a baby the whole movie. I need to find some stones.
This movie would be intolerable.
Because he just got born. He was like an infant the whole time.
He's completely useless, and he literally can't speak for 2 years. And then he only then starts talking in little broken sentences. Yeah. And it really takes him until he's like 12 years old. What if he's born an actual baby?
Baby. Oh, shit.
And it's like Baby's Day Out in reverse.
Yeah, Baby Warlock sounds like an awesome movie.
Baby Warlock sounds like an awesome movie.
Baby Warlock's Big Adventure.
I would totally watch it. But whatever. We go back to this fucking sea story that nobody cares about, and Kenny and his dad are playing chess.
I don't even care about it.
Dad's playing poorly because he's distracted by the thoughts of having to murder his son soon. We learn more about his dead mom and blah, blah, blah. But then we cut back to naked Julian Sands putting his fingers into his mom's brain, and she gets possessed by some sort of demon, potentially Satan, I guess. Yeah, because he's saying, "You serve at my behest," whatever. So it must be Satan. And he's like, "Okay, you've got to catch them all," and them all being runes. And so he's got 5 days to do it. So he flays a big piece of his mom's skin off, and a map of the United States raises up. Hilarious. And then a little blood trail goes across it, pointing towards each of the stones.
It's like almost like the Indiana Jones map, only with blood.
With blood and like cancerous growth in the shape of the United States. Ooh, cutting political commentary.
Yes.
There. So, let's see. Oh. Gotta switch pages here. Doorbell rings, and Zach fucking Gallagher shows up.
What the hell is he doing here?
He's like, I heard that there was something green and bubbling.
It's like a magnet to this kid.
Is this a Gremlins movie?
Yeah.
Anybody want to reboot Gremlins? Come on, anybody? I really could use it. Waxwork? You want to make another one of those?
You remember me in that?
I was in that.
I was pretty cool.
Not much else, though. Not doing great. Anybody?
Anybody see Cupid?
Nope.
Oh, I know.
But either way, you're like, okay, that's interesting that he's here. I can't wait to see what he does. Oh, disappears after saying one line.
He delivered the clothes.
He delivered clothes. He basically shows up in a really nice black suit.
And he gets Terminatored.
He gets Terminatored by Julian Sands.
He's like, ooh, black.
Man, I was kind of hoping for a gore scene here, but we've had a lot of gore so far already, so it might have been too much.
Yep.
But when he does in Norris from The Thing.
Yeah. Oh, the elevator?
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Man, what a scene. Anyway, okay, so we cut to the Mistletoe Cafe. We do that after Warlock walks through traffic, almost gets hit, blah, blah, blah. And he gets a cab driver to take him to New York in a very Crocodile Dundee scene.
Chicago.
Oh, sorry.
They're
Chicago.
in New York.
They're in New York. Travel to Chicago. But it was weird how, like, this whole scene played out very much like a scene from the first Crocodile Dundee, where he's like, I don't know what traffic is.
Yeah.
I know what a knife is, but I don't know what traffic is.
I don't know what traffic is because I'm a baby
warlock.
warlock.
I'm just a baby warlock. Come on, baby warlock. God, get it together. Baby warlock made a boom boom. Anybody? Okay, so Jesus. Cut to the Mistletoe Cafe. Kenny's dad goes to meet Ethan and Franks, who are the two other druids of this crazy bunch of druids. And he walks up to their table and like drops a bunch of sawdust on it, and it makes the rune.
And they let the waitress watch too.
Yeah, that was weird.
It's just like, aren't they like a secret protector cult club.
You'd think.
You saw nothing.
Yeah.
More coffee, please.
And it's great. So again, Charles Hallahan, who played Norris from The Thing, he's here. He's one of the guys, and also that other guy who's like a cowboy actor who was in every fucking movie
R.G. Armstrong.
Ever. Yeah. But yeah, it forms, literally, he drops this fucking sawdust on the table, and it forms itself into a rune, and they're like, it might not be that. And it's like,
everybody wants to be in denial. Well, the Earth is ending. Nobody wants to admit it.
Nobody wants to admit that the Earth is...
It's happening right now.
Yeah.
Cutting edge political commentary.
Oh, fuck, you're right. Nah, it's not. You know, what I really like about this 65-degree day on November 3rd in Maine...
is that I don't need to turn on my phone. I don't have my heat on right now.
I haven't turned my heater on yet.
Yeah.
I've had the windows open in my house.
Which is great because oil's $20 a gallon.
Anyway.
But that's okay because it's 95 degrees outside.
That's great. Good news.
Can't wait to go skiing.
When hell freezes over.
Yeah.
All right. Cut to the pond where we finally realize that these two were actually in love.
Oh.
Kenny and Sam. That tension that we had before, they're actually a couple.
And Kenny's just out there swimming in his blue jeans?
Yep. I mean, because he looks hot.
I know, but you wouldn't be swimming in your boxers? Like...
Not that guy.
Okay.
He's a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. And then he just gets dressed and walks on his way afterwards. Like, man, those jeans have got to be so uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think he's afraid of Kindiru in the local pond. The little fish that swim up your urethra and kill you.
Yeah, jeans do protect you from those.
That it does. So we cut back to the Druid Clubhouse. They talk a lot of shit about Druid stuff, and they see that the Warlock is driving to Chicago and that his driver is dead but still driving somehow. I wasn't really 100% on how that was working.
I think it's just so he could sit in the back seat and chill out and relax and not. But to all other people looking on, it looks like somebody's driving.
Yeah, I mean,
but it must have stunk after a while.
You'd think so. It just seems unnecessary. Seems like you're drawing unnecessary attention to yourself.
He can fly.
He can fly. What is he doing?
I think I'll just sit in the back of a slow-moving taxi with a dead guy for, what, fucking days? How long of a trip is that? 16 hours? Plus?
Seems like, yeah, and so you're following American roads and instead of going a straight shot?
And you've only got 6 days to do your task, and you're like, I'm just going to chill back here and listen to some radio.
I mean, he's got a lot of music to catch up on. He's like, okay, so I got green sleeves. What happened after that? What happened after that one? Holy shit, I gotta get going.
It's the early 90s, so he was probably right in the midst of all that Gregorian chant stuff.
So he probably felt right at home.
Yep.
It was just like a weird backbeat to it, and he thinks that's all that's happened. So they decide that they can slow the Warlock down with magic, and then everybody says, you can't slow the Warlock down with magic when the guy actually tries to, which is frustrating writing, but that's okay. We learned that the Reverend used to be a druid, but got cold feet and joined the church. Boo, no fun. And now the hot teen couple are having that boring going away to college, staying in your little hometown conversation that is in every movie with hot teens and fuck this, and I hate it. It's like a One Tree Hill episode. I did not need it in my Warlock movie.
I don't care about you going to Berkeley.
Don't give a shit.
Or not going to Berkeley.
Doesn't matter. Literally, we, as the audience, are aware that there's an actual Armageddon.
Yeah, we've got some bigger things to worry about.
6 days from now, and your conversation about going to Berkeley seems pretty fucking superfluous to us. So, whatever. So Sam freaks out and runs away because she has a premonition, because she's, again, better at everything than Kenny is. She runs off. She's like, fuck, I can see that your dad has a shotgun and that something weird's going on, and so she bugs off. And she's like, hey, it's my dad. He's just taking a walk with a shotgun like he always does, walking up to us.
I love she senses something bad's going to happen to him, and she's like, bye! Not warn you, not trying to save you, just be like, peace!
Yeah. She might also be a little self-serving in some instances. But yeah. There's, he's like, Kenny, I love you. And he's like, thanks, Dad. I love you.
Boom!
Boom!
This scene's
shot.
cool.
And then a really, he loves this shot too. He loves the tracking to the ground shot.
The whole...
I do love that too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. It's a very Sam Raimi.
I was going to say, it totally reminds me of when Ash flies through the woods. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple of... Yeah, it's definitely borrowed from Sam Raimi, but it's
they do it a couple times.
Yeah, they do it twice in this, and it's great both times. Yep. Looks cool. Yep. So they bring him back to the honeycomb hideout, and they pour sparkly druid stuff on him and drop sparkly druid leaves into his wounds. And this, like, of all the things, like, honestly, the juggling computer animation, fine, stupid, but whatever. The like sparkly unicorn sparkles and everything.
It just looks like those stupid Instagram filters that people use, or
sure,
whatever those filters.
It looks like an ad for like a toy that's for girls who like fairies.
Yes, exactly.
Like, oh look, and you can make the sparkle dust yourself. Like,
magical sparkle dust heals shotgun wounds.
Hasbro is going to pass on this.
Shoot your friends and make them better with sparkle dust.
Really, this is really dark, and no.
Yeah. Think we're gonna go with that easy bake oven.
Yeah, talk to Kenner. They're more. It's more in their line. Okay, so he gets up. He's fine. He's like, oh, everything's healed up mostly, and he freaks out because he just got shot by his dad. But he's like, okay, I'm adjusting to this new reality. And so now we go to the super sexy high-end fashion show in a fancy penthouse in Chicago. The Warlock is in attendance in the audience, and the reason he's there is because one of the models on the catwalk is wearing this gigantic, ugly fucking rock in her ear as an earring. It must weigh a half-pound.
In only one ear, because usually women on the runway just wear one giant earring.
One giant ugly ass fucking earring. Why wasn't it a fucking necklace?
A bracelet would have made more sense.
A bracelet, sure, anything.
They made it into this. So absurd.
So hideous and so bizarre. Like, it looked like it hurt her to wear it.
It must have been so uncomfortable to wear.
Yeah. But yeah, like, she had basically gauges by the time that was done.
Because I have gauges, and I've bought, like, stone ones before, and when I'm wearing it, it's like, oh, this is annoying, because every time I move, I can feel, like, that weight, the weight moving, because it's so heavy. And I can only imagine that'd be the same feeling on hers, only she's just got a normal piercing. Yeah. So that hook is just going to be like, yeah.
Oh. No, you could tell that the actual actress was uncomfortable with the rig that they had on her ear. Yeah. She was, like, the way that she was standing, she was kind of like,
don't rip my ear.
Yeah, it kind of had that, like, oh, fuck. So, let's see.
Yeah, just make it a bracelet. Jesus.
Yeah, so weird. But, so, Sands barges into the back room, which is full of nude models, not a single security person there to stop him or slow him down.
Trump style.
Whatever. When you're famous, they just let you do it.
Yep.
And everybody knows Julian Sands. They're like,
oh my God, it's Julian Sands.
I loved you in Boxing Helena. And they I think the conceit here is that Julian Sands is so hot that they're just like,
and he looks like he would belong.
Honest to God, when you see him in there, it is like his level of attractiveness is like so high that you're just like, yeah, he looks like he fucking belongs there.
Yep.
Like, I don't think if I was a security guy and I saw Julian Sands,
he looks like a pompous fashion designer.
I'd just be like,
right in.
yeah, this guy is clearly one of these people, and just gonna let him go. So totally works.
I couldn't pull that off.
You know what you need is the Julian Sands haircut.
Oh.
Which I think is interesting because it's the 90s now, so the normal Julian Sands ponytail, longish hair that's kind of cut at a really angular way has morphed into the Keanu Reeves long hair of the 90s, which, is cut a little higher, but is still like the surfer flip, which I thought was neat. It was like halfway to a squeeb, almost. The old Tony Hawk haircut, for those who didn't skate in the 90s and 80s. Let's see.
He meets a fashion designer back there who
yes,
is the owner
who's
of the earring.
A famous actress that I know from a bunch of shit, but...
And she's the owner of the earring, but she's not going to sell it.
No.
Because it's so cool.
I mean, we can only assume that the actual magical properties of these things are affecting the people in the world, because these things are ugly as shit. So we're gonna personally, I took it under Tolkien rules, where this is like the Ring of Power, and kind of people are sensing its presence, and it's never going to fall into obscurity. It's never going to be thrown away.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
It's going to always be kept by somebody because they can feel the magic that's in it, and so it draws them to it.
Except for rink circus folk who just would be like, "Yeah, give me a quarter."
Well, I mean, yeah, that guy's been fucking drinking turpentine all day, so I'm sure he's dulled. His senses are dulled to the magical properties. There's magic all around him in the circus, so much that it distracts him from the magic of... No. There's no magic in the circus. It's all depressing. It's all a Tom Waits song. Okay. But yes, so the deal that he strikes is he eventually tells her that he's a witch, and she says, "I don't believe you." And he says, "If I can prove it to you out on the roof, then would you give me the stone?" And she's like, "Oh,
I'm in love.
I assume we're gonna go fuck on the roof," from that sexy voice. Yeah. So she goes up there with the assumption that she's gonna get it on with Julian Sands.
And she just, like, with no hesitation and in heels, stands on the ledge of a roof.
That was problematic, where it's like, this guy is interested in a piece of jewelry that you own, and then you stand on the edge of the...
Like, meeting on the roof doesn't seem weird. Like,
nope.
Get some fresh air, get out of the crowd.
Sure.
She stands right on the edge of a gigantic high-rise.
She's not making good decisions. But he does the Superman, and he picks her up, and we get some just not very good looking levitation. Like, they look very awkward, and it's like
anything that levitates in this movie looks awkward.
Looks fucking terrible.
Rocks, baseballs, motorcycle parts.
I mean, when he walks down the invisible stairs at the end, I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just why.
you can fly, bro.
I mean,
just hover down there.
You know what? The reason why is because he looks stupid every time he hovers, so that's why they added invisible stairs.
Oh, gotcha.
You know
yeah, that works.
Actually, that totally tracks for me. But
it'd be great if he fell down, like lost his stepping in the middle.
Falls down invisible stairs.
Yeah, the bump, bump. But since he was obviously on green screen stairs, they could have done it. Like, it would have looked hilarious.
That is the thing about...
I wish this movie had more Naked Gun style humor like that, because it's got places for it.
The thing is that it kind of does. Like, the trauma moments that were given...
Yeah.
Because Julian Sands, as an actor, as a physical presence, is so dignified.
He can totally pull that Leslie Nielsen shit off.
He's just so, like, he's such a, like, I don't know, just he's got a great presence. And so when anything goes crazy, like when he starts getting exploded, the 2 times he explodes in this movie, it's hilarious. Like, when he has 2 total toxic meltdowns, and they're both hilarious. The first one actually is much more hilarious.
When he gets poked by the
pen? When he gets poked by the pen and, like, just starts exploding all over the gas station attendant. We'll get to that. So, you know, he assumes... There's another thing about this, where he just kind of has this thing about... Like, I don't understand the rules of his little deals, because in this case, he's like... So I proved it to you, so now I get the stone. Okay, excellent. Now I'm throwing you to your death and whatever. But then later it's like, I heard you say, here's your stone in one of them, and it's like, I don't think that's true. Why does that count?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't understand the magic going on here. But either way, he kills her. She falls through the skylight in an amazing scene. She's got a giant piece of glass sticking out of her neck. And it does, like, it's just the whole set decoration of that whole moment is like there's blood that has splattered.
Everybody gets
so far.
Everybody gets hit like they're at a gore show.
Yeah. It's really good. That shot is just beautiful. That looks like a painting. That scene would have been perfect. If you wanted to stop it there and turn that into a painting using your fucking Kai's power tools, go for it. So, all right, where are we at now?
Fuck, I don't remember. You tell me.
Okay, I will. Let's see. Oh, right. We go back to the Old Man Druid Club.
That's why I forgot.
That's why, because these suits are so fucking boring. The Old Men Druids explain the apocalypse to Kenny, who's dumb as a fucking post. Apocalypse? What? Now, you mean the end of the world? He gets it eventually, but they go out on the... but they're like, okay, good. You got it? Excellent. Let's go to breakfast. They leave to go to breakfast, and this entire hillbilly town full of just crazy religious zealots surrounds them and is like, a bunch of birds died.
Yeah.
We think it's 'cause you're in league with the devil. It's literally like the 1600s.
Yep.
It's crazy. Like, they have the internet. Like...
They don't.
Well, no, they definitely don't. That town does not have the internet. The world...
This town in 93? No.
The world has the internet at this point. You know, like, this is not... There's no reason for them to be such fucking crazy... I mean, unless this is literally like a shaker town, which it might be.
It looks like it.
It's weird that they would put a fucking occult bookstore in the middle of a shaker town.
They don't care. They're not selling anything anyway.
That's true. Again,
it's just a cover. It's like a tax write-off.
That's it. Okay, so
my business, it's failing. I need tax help.
Right. I need bailout money. So yes, I don't know what they know about these guys. Maybe it is just the bookstore that makes.
That's what I'm saying. It seems weird. Like they haven't done anything to.
But
they don't dress like Satanists or act like.
Yeah,
you know,
they look like everybody. Well,
I mean, what Satanists dress like normal people, but I mean, they're not wearing like pentagrams all the time. They're not.
They are the only people who are dressed like normal human beings. Like everyone else there is dressed like they're at
Puritans.
Like they look like they're at some sort of like recreation, like a historical recreation of an.
They wear those sinful J.C. Penney slacks.
That might be it. But the Reverend here, who used to be one of their buddies, is the voice of the town. But he's like, listen, everyone, you're just being superstitious. It was probably just pesticide.
Yeah.
The thing that really buries the lead is that every one of these dead birds has the rune for the end of the world burned into its stomach.
Ignore that, people.
That's probably just...
That's for pollution.
That's B for pollution.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's fine. This was the first of the signs of the Armageddon. There are now 4 signs left to go before he arises, before Satan arises. One of the codgers finds a scroll that has a spell that can hurt the warlock, so they do it.
I really like this whole scene.
I like it because
they don't know
that they're doing anything.
So it's like, holy shit, man! You could have put this like leaf under a sewing machine and put some I don't know what he said, pine sap from the hemlock tree on it or whatnot, and then just turn that sewing machine on and
just torn him to pieces. Yeah. I mean, he would come back together eventually, but you know, because he's invincible essentially for
Yeah.
for these 6 days, but you could just keep doing it until he couldn't, for 6
at least
days.
annoy him a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, you could take turns until he couldn't do anything. You could have kept him in one place just exploding over and over again. But we cut to the Warlock, who's hanging out at a gas station with his dead driver. We get this hillbilly gas station attendant. It's like, hey, mister, I don't want to alarm you, but I think your driver's dead. And
he steals this, I don't know, he wants to steal this Wish.com version of the General Lee.
yes, he does. He's like, is this a fast car? And he's like, well, gee, mister, this thing here, why, it's the fastest car in the whole county. And then he's like, wow, that's very interesting. And then he starts exploding green goo all over the
black
guy.
blood.
He's just disgusting. It's so gross and awesome.
I love it.
It is straight Evil Dead shit. And it's
mister, you're bleeding, and it's black.
That's his reactions. I think that, like, he reminds me of Kenneth the Page from 30 Rock. He's like really like, oh, mister, I think you got something wrong with you. And it's just like he's exploding from big pustules in his skin and blood's going everywhere and it's crazy colors. And eventually he's just a pile of mess on the ground. And the guy goes, is there anything you look like you lost a whole lot of blood? And Sands is like, then fill me up, and grabs him and sucks all of his blood out of his body.
Out of his eyeball.
Out of his eyeball.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where all the good blood is.
Yeah. Eye blood.
And so there it is. So he gets all better. He ate the entire gas station attendant or whatever, and now he's fine. Kenny and his dad have an extremely weirdly shot scene where he's trying to reject his hero's journey. This is the first of those really dumb, like, guy's face right up in the fucking camera and then somebody way down the lane, and they look like it looks like a process shot, but I think it's done in camera.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you remember those like school photos where you'd be like, this is the little kid and they're thinking of themselves in a Cub Scout uniform.
Yeah.
Or like,
yep.
I'm thinking of my pet or whatever.
Or be like, you'd be smiling ahead, then your like half image would be
yes,
up the top.
and
Yes,
it's a profile shot from the side.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. All of those shots look like those school photos. And there's so many of them. Like, if they did it twice, fine.
Yep.
But they did it like 6 times.
When you find somebody you like, you do it.
It's true. I mean, it definitely is his.
You go, Anthony.
It's his brand.
Yeah.
Are
we at the training montage yet?
We're pretty close. This is where Reverend Ted basically is like, oh, I know my daughter's the chosen one. So he comes out to Kenny's dad's place to yell at him, you keep your son away from my daughter. He's like, I'll let the town burn you out.
Yeah.
Which is a common expression that we all know. The old burn you out. I'm going to get burned out of town.
He does know the world's ending in like 3 days, right?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. We cut to the Warlock driving the fucking Wish General Lee, and he runs over a bunny and says, the Wild West. Which
the second of the unnecessary animal deaths in this movie.
Sure. I was pretty convinced that he was going to be like, what's up now, Doc? Or something.
That would have been so much better.
Like, I thought he was going to... I mean, it's a pop culture term he would never know. Yeah. But what does a Wild West mean?
Like, it's the Wild West where I can run over rabbits.
There's a million things you could say.
Yeah.
Like anything. I guess Easter's delayed this year. I don't like this.
Hair today, gone tomorrow.
Sure. Perfect.
Just like the world.
There. There it is. And why the Wild West?
Even just whoops.
That makes more sense.
Yeah.
That's actually a funnier line than the
Wild
Wild West.
But yeah, it's
maybe
it's
that
like,
bunny
why,
had like a sheriff's outfit on that we didn't see.
But yeah, why did he have to run over a rabbit? Like, and then like not care about it? It's like, what? Oh, this guy's evil. Thanks, movie. Now I know this guy's a bad guy.
Oh, the warlock summoned by the devil
who's
to
already
bring
killed
about
several
the
people.
apocalypse is evil. I learned that when he ran over a bunny on the road.
Yeah.
Possibly by accident. It's so weird.
Right?
Either way, it's so weird that he could drive. It's weird seeing him drive the car.
Yeah.
Like, especially because it's a muscle car. It's weird to see him drive it again because of his whole vibe.
Yep.
His whole like 1600s.
Hoity-toity. Yeah.
Like looks like the vampire Lestat kind of thing. Like it's weird, but he does it, and it's quick so that it doesn't draw too much attention to itself. So now here it is, your favorite scene and mine.
Geez.
The fucking Druid Jedi training montage.
It's so...
The music cues are so close to the fucking Star Wars theme.
Yep.
It's irritating. Da 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 diddly doo. Da 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 beedly bop boop doo doo doo. It's like ooh, the lawyers were right there.
Yeah.
You could sense the lawyers. They were like, their pens were about to hit the paper to write up a really strong letter. Oh, no, they changed it just enough.
My problem with this whole scene is we've already discussed that when things levitate, they look stupid.
Yes.
So I mean, that's just a given.
But because they do even now.
Yeah, but
in
he's just
Star Wars. It looked stupid.
Yeah, but he's just out there practicing controlling, hovering a baseball, practicing blowing up a paper bag. You know what I mean? Just like honing his telepathic abilities. But they try to infuse this humor here, where it's just like, whoops, he broke a truck window with the baseball, and then he's like trying to like blow up the paper bag, and it's like, oops, a truck tire exploded, and then it just shows like his dad and Frank's, and they're just like, oh, and it's just like, it's not funny.
It's not
like the humor. There's nothing funny about it.
It's confusing because
it's very easy to be not funny, and this like this scene is just it's groany. You just watch it,
very
you're like,
groany.
ugh.
And
I guess that's a humor joke. Like,
I mean, I guess, but I think that like the parts where they're like, oh no, it's like, guys, you're trying to train this guy. You want to build up his fucking confidence.
Yeah.
He's about to fight the fucking devil
and save the world.
You might want to be like, no, that's good.
It's like, we'll try again tomorrow, dipshit.
I mean, yeah, and they're constantly like, ugh. It's like, fucking Ixnay on the fucking Ronin Gray. Like, what are you doing? Like, this guy needs to believe that he can fight the devil.
Yeah.
Like, if you keep doing this, he's just going to run away. Like, if you keep being like, oh, you suck at this. Like, say you're doing good. Fucking support him. It's your fault that you didn't train him since birth to do this shit. Because we've already seen that the lady had fucking powers without being killed. So, he could have been honing these powers his whole life.
Yep.
Or at least training in something.
But we should probably just go kill her anyway.
You would think that they would kill her anyway. You would think that they would have done that by now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But whatever. I mean, it's the end of the fucking... It's literally the end of the world.
These are like the world champions in procrastination.
Admittedly, the fact that it's a bunch of grumpy old white guys...
Yeah.
It kind of sells it where you're like, you know what?
More biting edge political satire.
They're just like, fuck it. Somebody else will take care of it.
Next man's problem.
Yeah, some real fucking boomers here who are like, I don't know, I got mine. What? 6 more days to live? I probably had 8.
Yeah.
Fuck it. Screw you and your stupid world. Oh, all the penguins are dead? I don't give a fuck.
Nah.
I don't know any penguins.
Are they even real?
I don't even believe in penguins. I've never seen one in real life.
They sound so silly.
Pretty adorable, though. Okay. So, we cut now to... So, I want to say how bad this looks. At the same time, I want to say how charming it is. I don't know how to get those two diverse ideas expressed, but this airbrushed matte painting that they cut to of the circus, it looks terrible, but it looks amazing. I don't know how to express that.
I think my version may have missed that.
It literally is the best looking thing in the movie and the worst looking thing.
Did you have this on disc, or did you watch this on Prime?
I watched it on Prime.
So did I, and I feel like did you watch it free with ads, or did you rent it?
I watched it with ads.
Me too. I don't know. I feel like I was missing that. I feel like,
oh man,
my cut had some. Maybe I just missed it myself, but like I felt this had some really jarring edits to it, and this was one of them.
I mean, this was pretty jarring, but the outside of the tent.
I don't remember ever seeing it outside of a tent.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it was like a Killer Clowns from Outer Space type thing.
No, not at all. My first scene was...
You could tell the whole thing was very obviously airbrushed. Like it looked like it was airbrushed on the side of a van. But like that kind of shit in a movie like this charms the hell out of me. Mm-hmm. Like I love it. And so it's hard to explain that it looks like it was done by somebody who's not an expert airbrush artist. Yeah. But is also awesome because of that. So I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, no, I feel like my circus scene started right inside the tent with the little person coming up saying like, "Hey, we had a good cut today." Like that's how my scene started.
Oh, and she's got that weird Eastern European accent.
Yeah.
That's yes. Okay, so once we get in there, we have the little person with the weird Eastern European accent who is a circus fortune teller. And I don't know what the deal really is here, but this is that trope that I talked about in another podcast where it's like the fake fortune teller who actually has real psychic powers, which is kind of one of these things in genre movies. But this scene makes no sense. Again, it's another thing where it feels like it's a thing out of time. He's like, "Here you go, buy yourself a giant steak." Flips a coin to her. She bites it.
Yeah, what?
Are you paying in gold coins?
Yeah.
Is that a thing? I don't understand this at all.
Nope.
But it was a thing that they did anyway. It was probably a quarter, and she just broke a tooth on it. It doesn't make any sense, but there it is.
She probably has a great dental plan there at that.
I'm sure the circus does a great dental plan. Okay, so the Warlock shows up because the carnival barker who's there, who had just paid this woman, he has the other stone.
Well, he has the stone in his tent that's being held by a real man who's pretending to be a statue.
Who owns the stone? I mean, it has to be him.
It has to be him, but like, what the hell is up with that? Where he's just like, "I come for the stone." Did you catch that?
Oh yeah,
and then it cuts to this like safari-looking guy who's like a wax model, but he couldn't stand still to save his life. So it was like, why?
So
very weird choice.
That thing is insane. The fact that there's a real Iron Maiden in this location is dually insane. But okay, so he tries to sell it. But the fortune teller turns out to be a real psychic, and she says, "Do not sell it to him. He's bringing the Armageddon and all sorts of other terrible stuff." And this pisses off the Warlock. He's like, "Oh, you are actually a psychic. Bad for you." And picks her up and slams her into this actual working Iron Maiden that they have there. Impales her and then closes the door.
I love the shot of him holding her up in the air with one arm.
Yeah. Showing how incredibly powerful he is, because she probably weighs all of 35 pounds, but still impressive. Kills her, and then the barker runs away into the Hall of Mirrors and is chased by the Warlock. And this is fun. This is the beginning of what you were talking about before we started the Wishmaster.
The Wishmaster stuff. Yep.
This movie is like we were saying before. This is basically a proto fucking Wishmaster.
This movie is Wishmaster meets grumpy old men in the Infinity War.
Whoa. Huh? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, I never thought about the Infinity Gauntlet the version of this. Yeah, totally. Yep. Jim Starlin presents grumpier old men. So, yes. The Warlock starts... This is all very out of character for the Warlock, this scene. He's like chasing him around and he's like saying funny things. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the mirroriest there is? Is it this guy? Probably. I don't know. Fuck it. And he just says a bunch of weird shit. And he laughs a lot. Like he's got a big, like boisterous, like Vincent Price laugh, which is like, he doesn't do that. He's like very restrained about that kind of shit. But he lets it all loose because it's the carnival.
And then he just makes like a weird gamble with the guy. He's just like, if you could tell, I've got 2 stones here that look identical. If you could tell me the fake one, you can live.
Yeah.
But it's...
it
seemed weird, man. It seemed like they wanted him to do something clever here, but they couldn't think of anything decent. So they were just like, "Oh, which stone's fake?"
Well, that's the problem is that the concept is a little obscure. So the gag here is that one of them is obviously the real one, and one of them is obviously the fake one. He chooses the one that is obviously the real one, but the one that is obviously the real one is the fake one in the mirror world. So he has...
Oh, that's...
Because it's opposite day, essentially. And so it's like...
That's dumb.
And he says it. He's like, well, that's what it would have been if you were, whatever. It's like, but
on
in
this
the
side
mirror,
of the mirror.
on this side of the mirror.
That's stupid.
And so he's like, ah. But this scene is creepy.
Yeah.
What an amazing, like, waste of a set and for a one-off little thing, there's this fucking creepy gray trolley thing that's going through the background.
It's cool and crazy, but low rent. Like, that trolley's supposed to have, like, screaming soul people in it, but it's so tiny. Yeah, that's what it's supposed to be.
Is it really?
It's a train going by with, like, locked people in the cage, but they're just, like, tiny little dolls, and they're like, meh! They do, like, an ADR scream.
Didn't even see that.
Yeah. So it's, like, a really low-rent hell, but, like...
I just loved the whole look, though.
Oh, A for effort.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think if I had seen the people in there, I might have changed my mind on how much I liked it. But I did not see that, so it just looked like a really nicely decorated set.
Yeah, so he's in, like, mirror hell eternity.
Yeah.
Screaming souls on this little narrow gauge railroad.
Pretty horrible.
Yeah.
It's pretty brutal. So, yeah, the doors to the Hall of Mirror close. And we get another one of those big head shots again. This is Sam's huge head in the foreground and Kenny's in the background. And she's having prophetic dreams. I'm dreaming about these things in the Armageddon and some stones and some stuff, and it's sad.
It's probably nothing.
He's like, yeah, all this stuff is real. And she's like, I don't believe you. And then it starts downpouring. They're like, let's go hide in the covered bridge. They get in there and they're like, oh, we're covered in blood. It's raining blood.
Yep.
She's like, I still don't believe in these signs. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. See you later. Okay. So Kenny keeps demonstrating like absolutely incredible powers here, but he just can't aim them properly. So he's got the ability to do cool shit. And like...
But his cool shit telepathy just needs glasses.
It needs glasses, yeah. And so he's like, his dad's like, why don't you try lighting the grill with your amazing flame powers or whatever? And he's like, he sets a tree on fire, and it's like, oh. His dad's like, ugh, look at that. He has the ability to set a tree on fire. What a piece of crap.
Fucking kid.
It's like, dude, he fucking burst a tree into flames. It's pretty fucking impressive.
I like, too, that the barbecue grill had all the tools on top on the grate too. He was just like,
he didn't expect.
Just set all the tools on fire. Yeah, he has no confidence.
He knew there was no chance in hell he was gonna pull it off.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That was because the trees talked to them, and I think that probably was one of the trees that was like mouthing off to him.
No,
he was like,
yeah,
hey Kenny, you want to fucking take care of this problem? I know how to do it.
Funny if the trees killed him near the end. This is for Timmy.
I mean, so they have killed trees. They use wood, like all these things. The trees are talking, and the trees have a sense of humor. They're mocking him,
yeah,
when he's fucking up. Like, they're making fun of his creepy relationship with that squirrel that probably gave him leprosy or something.
Jeez, I forgot about that scene.
Quit making out with a squirrel, dude. It's fucking wild
He
animal.
kissed a squirrel on the mouth.
He kissed a wild squirrel on the mouth. Like, that is literally a way to get leprosy.
I thought
dude.
Warlock was going to walk into the scene and kill the squirrel just so he knew he was a bad guy, but it didn't happen.
This is from making out with the chosen one.
Yeah.
Yep. So we go to the end of the service at Reverend Ted's church, and George Buck Flower is there for a little cameo.
Yeah, he shows up for a couple lines.
Yeah, he gets a little thing, and then he gets another little scene later on.
Yeah, he's got 2 lines. Which is more than some movies he's in.
Yeah. And then he shows up there before we find out that the woman who I don't know what her relationship is to him. Do you know who she is?
I don't know who she is.
It seems like they had a relationship.
They definitely had some kind of history. Yeah.
And she also knows about the Armageddon stuff. For some reason, they're not allowing this woman who clearly is in on the end of the world shit in here. Yeah. Probably some sort of boys club.
Oh, she's
crap.
a woman, yeah.
It's fucking boomers.
She's the one they let see the rice happen too, right?
Oh, maybe that's it. That might be it. Okay. So maybe she is in on it.
Oh man, this is fucking Star Wars. She's definitely the mom of both Kenny and
Sammy.
Yeah,
absolutely. This is Star Wars. And they totally had sex, and they're gonna have a fucking 3-armed baby of the Armageddon. So we find out here that she knows the stuff. She's mad at him for turning his back on the druids, and then she storms off. But then we find out that Norris from The Thing has stolen the daggers. We don't know that he's stolen the daggers yet, but we know that he has gone off to pursue the Warlock.
Yep.
And somehow can track the Warlock. He has one of those.
He has got a Warlock compass.
He's got one of them.
He's got a Warlock GPS tracker.
Just like from the last thing, except it needed a drop of the Warlock's blood in the last one, but this time it doesn't. Whatever, it's fine. So
this is a different Warlock too in this one, right?
Yeah, I think it's just played by him, but this is a whole different story.
Okay, that's what I thought too.
Like, because I don't think
because he knew the word to kill the world last time,
right? And it's not about that this time. It's about because he was just it was about him. He wasn't like a servant of Satan. He was the guy that wanted to end all of creation. So in this one, he's just like Satan's lackey.
He's like an endless Warlock clone factory.
Yeah, I mean, he like literally the devil says through that lady, she's like, "You serve at my, my pleasure," or whatever. So, so it turns out that we do find out eventually that there are these 2 magic daggers, or there's a scabbard and a dagger that were in this little drawer in the
the junk drawer
in the fucking Warlock cave and the Druid cave, and they've been stolen. And they're like, no, Ethan's trying to kill the Warlock by himself. He's not a warrior. He's gonna die. Guess what?
Yeah, he does.
He's gonna die. So we get this. Just mentioned it earlier, but fuck. This is like a Hellraiser level.
Oh yeah,
amazing horror scene of him. Like the compass in his pocket starts shaking because he's in the elevator with the Warlock. So he realizes it. Some people come in, and the Warlock is just stone cold. He's just fucking icy as hell. Doesn't even glance askance. Doesn't fucking care. And he hears the dagger being pulled when the people come out of the thing. It's like, whatever. The doors close. We assume that he's going to go to stab the Warlock. And then Julian Sands walks out of the elevator, cool as a breeze. And behind him is burned, charred blood stuck to the wall, dripping off everything. The
legs, ripped off legs hanging from strings. And
his rib cage is hanging from the ceiling. The legs are dangling. It is horrific. It is a straight up abattoir of horror.
And not a drop on Julian.
And Julian's just like
"Do-do-do-do-do."
yeah, completely, yeah. Oh my god, so good.
Makes you wonder what that looked like.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's so much better to not have seen it.
Oh, definitely.
So much better. Like that best scene in the whole movie. I mean, like for as a character moment for the Warlock,
Yeah.
it doesn't get any better than that. That was just genius. So I mean, this is the horror movie equivalent of like walking away from a fucking car exploding or whatever in an action movie.
Yeah, you're right.
It's perfect.
All the blood and gore behind you, and you're just walking away all cool.
Yep.
Now I don't need to look at that shit. I know what it looks like.
You could imagine Pinhead doing something like
I've seen
this.
blood and gore before.
Like that's basically how like a Cenobite would have walked away from that situation, just sort of like, neat. So he's exiting this elevator. The scene was so cool that we don't really realize that it's connected to the next scene.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the weird things, but it turns out he's exited the elevator into the penthouse office of this fancy pants guy. He walks past the secretary who tries to stop him, and he tells her to shut up or something.
And her mouth closes.
And her mouth seals shut.
Wishmaster.
And totally wishmasters her. And then he walks into the office, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going? I hear you've got a rock." And he's like, "Yeah, I totally got a rock, but you're not supposed to be here. How'd you get past my secretary?" Pulls a gun on him and holds a gun out, and he's like, "You got 2 seconds to get out of here before I call security." And he's like, "I just thought you would have liked to have seen this stone with all of its friends."
Yeah.
And he lays out the remainder of the stones on a glass surface. And the guy's like, "Where the hell did you get those?"
Yeah, he knows them all.
Yeah.
It's weird, man.
Yeah, it's especially irritating that like a collector, a random rich art collector, recognizes these stones,
Right?
and these dumb ding-dongs in their secret society have had 700 years to find them, and they haven't done it.
And these valuable stones are just hanging out in circuses and on supermodels' earlobes.
Dumb.
Fashion Week, like
Dumb.
dumb.
He does. He's really intrigued by this whole thing. He comes out, and this gets even more wishmastery here.
Oh yeah, God.
And also I take some umbrage at this particular kill too, because I don't think it's right. I think again with his fucking like the rules of his game, I think he's violating them here, because he's like, "I'll trade you the most amazing piece of art you've ever seen in your entire life. It's going to be the greatest piece in your collection." And it's like, okay, the greatest piece of art in my collection. Cool. I hope it doesn't look like a bunch of Play-Doh.
I hope it doesn't look like something that somebody did in high school.
I hope it doesn't look like a high school art class ashtray with human eyes and a tongue.
It's a bong.
Dude, you're lucky that this is the greatest piece of art I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's stupid.
But it's like, no, it's not. You did not trade him the greatest piece of art. That looks shitty.
And he's like, "I'll give you the greatest art you've ever seen." It's like, he can't even see it. He is it.
Right, exactly. So what we're saying is he turns him into a piece of artwork. He basically...
It's fucking stupid.
It's pretty stupid. We saw it in Scanner Cop 2 in our last episode. Same deal, where somebody was scannered into a piece of artwork. This is actually being turned into a piece of artwork, but it was those 80s colors too. They were the or early 90s colors that you saw in like Colors of Benetton ads and all that shit. Like it was appropriate to the time period, but definitely not the best piece of art he had in his collection. No way.
No.
But he does get the stone anyway, whatever. And also, art is subjective. Again, this doesn't make sense. Sorry. Bothers me.
Yep.
Okay. So Sam goes to Kenny's dad and asks, "Who am I?" She uses her psychic abilities to lock him in the house and we see that she's got magic powers, and it's like, and again, she hasn't been killed yet.
Kill her anyway.
But she's got the magic powers. And so Kenny's out fucking straight up Dagobahing out by the pond. This is so Star Warsy, and he's like literally levitating in like lotus pose and like lifting rocks and
so
shit.
Stupid.
It's stupid, and it's also just like, it's trite how Star Wars it is.
Yeah.
It bothers me.
Yep. It's like, we get it. It's Star Wars.
We get it. You got Star Wars. What about Star Wars with a Warlock?
Yeah. Hey, want to see the Warlock when he's a little kid? It's baby Warlock.
Oh, if only. So
they're doing that with Jason now.
Okay.
Do you like Jason? How about Jason when he's a little kid?
Everybody straight up fuck off on that. You know, if it turns out that they have a brilliant plan for this, I'll fucking eat my words. It is the dumbest pitch I've ever heard in my entire life.
Agreed.
It's
A24. It's going to be incredible.
Fucking murder them all. Boo. Boo. This is going to be worse than that fucking remake that what's his name? The Michael Bay remake from the 90s. Or early 2000s, or whenever it was.
I actually revisited that a few years ago, and it kind of grew on me. I hated it. I saw it in the theater, and I hated it.
I hate it so much.
I watched it again, kind of knowing what I was getting into, and it's like, oh, I liked it a little better this time.
I would probably like it better knowing what I was getting into.
Yep.
It was more torture porny than the normal ones. Again, I don't need to see Jason's kitchen or where he sleeps.
Yep.
You have really fucked up the character entirely if I know what he had for breakfast.
He's got a weed farm.
It's insane to put a character who's supposed to be like an unknowable mystery killer.
He's pretty good with electricity.
And then be like, oh, also, he had cornflakes. Like, looks like he just used the bathroom. And like, he sleeps in this bed, and he was reading Catcher in the Rye or whatever. Like, God, no, stop ruining Jason. Okay, that's all. Let's go back to this movie.
That was my fault. Sorry.
I'm sorry. That was, I'll
own it.
It's a trigger for me. We've only been doing this for an hour and a half. Okay.
Yeah, I gotta go back to work.
Yeah, someday. Okay, so there's a plague of fucking bugs at Ted's church, and he screams and locks himself in the rectory. Sam shows up, and she's reading Bible verses at him, and she says, I guess that...
How did I know this?
How did I know all this stuff? But I guess Kenny's dad told her that she needed to be reborn, and she's like, Dad, would you please kill me? God, everybody else is
Stop dragging your ass.
Everybody else is getting killed by their dad, and you don't want to kill me. It's so gross. And so she's like, okay, you're not going to do it. Fuck it. I'm going to kill myself. How am I going to do it? Something nice like sleeping pills, something quick like a gun. No, how about the most painful way a human being can die? From a gut wound.
Yeah.
So she stabs herself, and presumably 15 hours later, she dies of sepsis. Like, I don't know. Fucking horrendous. Literally. What the fuck, man? She wakes up on the slab. Old druids give the kids the 2 remaining stones, one of which can disrupt the ritual if exposed to bright light.
Oh, so they do say that.
Yes.
I missed that.
And he says, bright light during an eclipse. What a convenient thing.
No, I'm
some dumb shit like that.
Okay. That was one of my problems at the end. I was just like, how do he know light would fuck shit up? I missed that line completely.
But that's it. He's like, where are they going to get a bright light?
Yeah.
I hope you paid attention earlier. So
I hope somebody just likes leaving the car in the woods overnight for no fucking reason.
I hope he gets so scared off that he walks away instead of driving away.
Right?
Whatever. So cut to a hot lady who I guess we assume is like a lot lizard prostitute type.
Oh, totally what it was.
Getting kicked out of a truck. I don't know. Maybe she just is constantly horny. I mean, she didn't seem to think that there was going to be any money exchanging hands. I mean, you see Julian Sands, and you're like, "Oh, fuck it."
Oh, she's one of those ask for the money after the fact people.
Oh man, what a jerk!
That's probably why she got kicked out of the truck.
Probably. So the Warlock's map is getting all crusty, and it needs blood to come back to work.
Holy shit, this scene was great.
She's like, so she's checking her hair in the mirror.
She's so annoying.
She's being super annoying, and she's like, "Oh, my hair must look terrible. Does it look terrible? I bet it looks terrible." And then she's like, "This mirror is too small. I can't even see it.
How does my
hair look?" And he reaches over and he does a wig snatch with her entire scalp. And wig snatches her whole scalp off and says, "Here, look at it."
Yeah.
How does it look to you, or something like that? And then pushes her out of the car. But he keeps her scalp so he can smear the blood across his map,
which
and
makes
bring
the
it back
map come back to life. Yeah, I loved it.
It was beautiful, and
it was super dumb fun.
It was super dumb. So he's almost in San Bernardino, which is where the kids are not fucking training to take him down.
They're training to fuck.
They're training to fuck. Now that the guy who isn't Samantha's boyfriend finds out about them. Andy, sure.
I don't know why I would remember his name.
He shows up and he's like, "Listen, dear devil boy, you need to get away from my girl." Yeah. Goot, goot, goot. And he's like, "Now I'm a hillbilly. Before I was a Shakespearean thespian." Sometimes I'm.
And how did you find them out in the woods? You're just nothing. None of this makes sense. The most convoluted freaking thing in the world is getting this guy's truck there.
This is the hand of God at work.
Oh, okay.
He's lining up all of the pieces to allow this. He wouldn't allow them to be put into this position and tested the way that they are, with the lives of every human being on the planet in the balance, just to prove a point to them or something, whatever. But either way, he's like, "Hey, you get away from her. You're a devil boy." And she's like, "Force choke." And she's straight up like a thing that Kenny could not do. There's no way in hell.
Kenny sucks.
Kenny is bad at this. She just like instantly is like, "Fuck you," and like starts choking him. And he's like, "Hey."
She hasn't even had a training montage.
She hasn't had a training montage. And she's like, "You're going to kill him. Stop." And she's like, "I kind of want to, though." And she's like, "I'm doing this stuff for God, so I probably shouldn't do that." So she lets him go. He runs off, leaves his truck behind.
Important point.
Luckily, he leaves the truck behind.
Because that's what he would do when you're in the middle of the woods.
A truck with fancy lights, you gotta leave it behind here. Kenny lies to Sam and says, the best way to train for fighting warlocks is to have sex. I heard that
warriors make love before going into battle.
Uh-huh.
Then he does this like yawn thing and puts his arm over.
I also hear that the dudes get oral sex without reciprocation.
Yeah. He holds up a thing of popcorn by his crotch. Here's some popcorn too.
It's like, fucking sleazeball. There's no way in hell. This moment, it was so grimy because it's like, dude, just say you want to have sex.
Yeah.
Come on, don't lie your way into it. This is gross. But either way, the warlock finds the lady who yelled at Reverend Ted, and he says, he's like,
"You could herald my arrival."
Oh, that's right. Is he sitting on a park bench?
Yeah.
Of course he is. It's classy,
just
man.
Killing time, It's not like he has a deadline or anything.
I mean, I feel like he's timed this pretty well. This whole thing lines up pretty good. But Kenny, who, as we've seen, absolutely sucks as a hero, says that Sam isn't trained enough to do this. We've seen that all of Kenny's training is all for naught.
Yep.
And that Sam has dead accuracy with everything she does. But whatever. Sam is fucking Jean Grey, and he's like a fucking idiot. So, but whatever, doesn't matter. He gives her the stone because he's gonna go fight the warlock, and all the townsfolk have gathered around the church. We find out that the warlock has crucified that lady upside down, and the townsfolk are again all convinced that the druids are evil witches, and they want to burn them alive or something. But Kenny uses the Force to spin a baseball. Okay, just devil's advocate here. So you're trying to disprove
that you're devils.
That you're using witchcraft.
So here's some sick magic.
So here's some witchcraft to prove that we're innocent.
And I like, since he gets the baseball and he moves it all around, and he goes, "Welcome to the majors."
It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid.
Stop it, Kenny.
Ouch. Ouch, Kenny. Come on, man. So the Warlock tortures the second to last stone out of the old man, out of...
this was a weird cut. Was this a weird cut?
It was a weird cut for me.
Okay.
Because I don't know how he got here or what anything.
All of a sudden, it just cut to the basement of the bookstore, and he's like, "Give me the stone." And they had this dumb argument that kept going, "Give me the stone." No. Give me the stone.
God.
I won't give you the stone.
So
give me the stone.
funny.
I won't give you the stone. Like,
fucking hilarious. I
camera
I just want to take that and loop it for about
Eternity.
45 minutes and put it on YouTube.
Do it. 10 hours of give me the stone.
10 hours of give me the stone.
That's brilliant. Fuck, I'm going to do it if you don't.
Okay. Give me the stone. No. I want the stone. No, you can't have a stone. I want it, but you can't have it. So Kenny shows up, and he's there to save the day, and he does something that barely matters, that barely phases the Warlock in the least. He's like, "I'm here to take care of business, and check this out." And he, like, it was like he threw a baseball at him or something.
Yeah.
Like, the equivalent of, and the Warlock's like, "Huh, my turn." Blows the entire building up. The roof explodes like an atom bomb has gone off in there. Shoots Kenny out the window. He arranges a big shattered pipe to be right behind him, impales him on the pipe on the ground, and we see that the level of outclassed that Kenny is so outrageous. Like, they had no shot.
No.
Zero chance.
I mean, the only way he could counteract this is with a really strong headbutt.
I mean, exactly. Okay, that's very stupid. But okay, yeah, Kenny's still alive enough to set the Warlock on fire, but that barely phases him.
He just puts himself out?
He puts himself out, and then the Warlock screams at God, "Is this the best you can do?" And then he sends a car to run Kenny over because just stepping on his windpipe is too much. It's like, he could have crushed his skull. He could have, like, there's a million things he could have done.
He's totally like the Bond villain that just, like...
He overcomplicates himself into defeat is really what's happening.
Just take him out.
Just fucking kill him.
He's fucking done.
You have the ability to make guns out of your fingers, which we find out later. You could have shot him from across the room.
I'm sure he's like a scanner and could make his head explode.
He could do anything.
He could pick him up, fly into the sky, and just drop him.
Yep. But
he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna make this car come alive."
Yep. He makes the car come alive, and then Kenny, at the right moment, makes a manhole cover pop up.
Makes an abnormally large manhole cover.
And it stops the car, and he's like, that was a good move, but not good enough." Something like that, some fucking Bond villain thing. But just as the Warlock's walking over to crush his head or whatever he's about to do, out come the old men. Turns out Reverend Ted and his dad are out there with old-timey shotguns, like dressed up like cowboys. Because it's the Wild West.
They know what they're facing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, they also know. I mean, somehow it blows him backwards when they shoot him.
Well, I mean, you can hurt the Warlock, and he does impact. You know, he's not the T-1000 just absorbing bullets. Like,
that's true.
It sends the body flying. It's not going to do anything, but it's still going to slow him down a bit.
It irks him at best.
So here's the funny thing, like, they get their shots in. It shoots the Warlock into the window of the building. Warlock then proceeds to bust through the roof of the building, flying,
which has already been exploded.
But I mean, it's cool.
That's fine. It looks cool. Yeah.
And then he stands on the edge and starts walking down what we said
earlier,
invisible stairs towards the street.
Like he's Liberace.
Now, at this point, the two guys are like, oh shit, and they start going to reload their shotgun. It's like, guys, is this going to be a strange loop all day? Are you just going to shoot him back into the building? He's going to walk down his stairs? What are you doing with the shotties?
They had no plan.
No.
Because
they've only had 700 fucking years to come up with one.
They've only had 700 years to come up with a plan for this situation, so it's understandable that they were taken by surprise. Yeah.
I understand desperation, I guess, but it's just so silly that they're trying to reload their shotguns when it's like, you've just proven that it's not going to do anything.
Yeah. He comes down, he walks down his invisible stairs like he's Wonder Woman and is like, hey guys, you took your shots at me. Pulls out his finger guns and then blows holes through both of them with his finger guns and then goes and blows the barrels of his finger guns.
Love it.
Puts them back in his holster.
Love
Again,
it.
Something he would not be aware of, having just woken up after 700 years, the invention of the revolver not really being a thing that he was there for. It's fine.
Look, he knows about the Wild Wild West, okay? He said it.
He got all of that information by running over a bunny.
Yes.
Okay. So
I'll allow it.
Yeah. All right. Now Sam shows up on a motorcycle just in the nick of time. He's like,
again, lucky that motorcycle was running after dipshit took it all apart.
It's so amazing. Yes, she holds the necklace out and is like, "Here's your damn rock," or some dumb shit like that. And so he chases her. She drives off on the motorcycle. Warlock flies off after her. This gives nearly dead dad just enough time to put some magic druid juice on Kenny's wound. This was super irritating because he doesn't take the fucking pipe out first, and it's like, is it gonna heal around the pipe? I had this moment of assuming
spending the rest of the movie with a pipe sticking out of him
for the rest of his life. It's healed perfectly, but he's got a big fucking pipe sticking out of his stomach.
Thanks, Dad.
Oh god, I wish you'd thought ahead.
Dip.
It's gonna look really embarrassing when I get married to this hot chick. But yes, we assume he saves his son.
And the pipe gets away.
Yeah. So she's driving away, and Warlock cuts her off pretty quickly. Yeah. You know, right next to
fly.
Well, because he can fly, which he probably should have been doing this whole time. He tries to drop a giant rock on her head. There's a giant druid like Stonehenge stone out there. He's like, "How did you expect that you could stop me? I'm older than these stones." And then pushes one of the giant druid stones over, and she blows it up with her abilities. Again, like, fucking Kenny could never have done that.
No.
He's got nothing on her. And so, pretty good. And then she manages to impale him with a tree branch.
No, the tree does that.
Does it, though?
It does.
It helps her?
That's their tree buddies.
Okay.
Tree's like, ah, shit. Ah, that's what I got.
I took that was her psychic
nope,
abilities.
Tree
doing
buddy.
That.
Tree buddy.
I like Tree Buddy way better.
What do you guys out there think?
Okay.
Give us a call. We'll take a survey.
Yeah. Is it Tree Buddy?
Team Matt, Tree Buddy.
So we got he phases out of the tree branch pretty quickly.
Dumb.
He's just like,
dumb effect.
Did you think you could kill me?
Yeah.
You can't kill me. Nothing can kill me. I'm magic. And
I wish that was a practical
wonderful.
effect. Like, I wish he like ripped himself out of there or completely pulled back and his head was all.
But
it came back.
again, we're talking about a time when this computer shit was.
Yeah, but
like,
it was just lazy.
It was. I mean, it was much more expensive than it would have been any other way at the time. I'm sure that stupid fucking process shot was more expensive than doing it practically. So he lashes her to the pickup with the big KC lights on it and takes the necklace.
The pickup that's still there from the night before.
And that they stopped exactly at. That, like, the Warlock caught up to her exactly there.
Yep.
So, I mean, pretty impressive. She had said something earlier that amounted in his rules to, it's okay, you could take the necklace from me. Yeah. So he takes it. So he's got all of them. He's collected them all. He lays them out. He lays all his Pokemon cards out on the fucking table. And then shit starts spinning. We get more of that crap. And it's like, things are going to happen.
I thought he was going to win.
He was like about to win, but then Kenny shows up and shoots him with a magic thunderbolt power that he's developed apparently. And we're like, oh shit, Kenny's magic thunderbolt powers. We're going to get a real battle here. Oh, nope. Kenny's taken out instantly. Yep. As usual, the Warlock is like, fuck you, dude. And then just like sticks him to a tree and he's bound with vines.
Yeah, Evil Dead style.
Yep. So nothing going on there. What happens here?
The ground starts opening up with with the spinning portal, and the eclipse starts happening, and the big Stonehenge circle in the middle opens, and we get this really cool like dragon,
the gate kind
dinosaur effect thing coming out. Yeah. And here's the scene where he's just like, so he knows light needs to stop it, I guess.
Yeah, he knows that he knows from what they said before, and he's like using his psychic abilities to try and turn the car on, and he's too shitty at his thing.
He's too weak. Well, he's been stabbed and everything.
He says he's too weak.
He's too shitty.
But like, I think he turned on the windshield wipers or something, and he's like, "Oh, my fucking dumb."
That's why those went on. Okay, I thought that was just telling us like the truck was still running. Like
he's too
the
stupid
truck still got
to do
batteries.
It.
Yeah,
and
okay.
He's like, okay, you're better at this than I am.
So he starts yelling to his girlfriend. He's like, focus on the lights. Turn the lights on.
Yep.
And then I love a scene where he's just like, welcome to the 20th century, asshole. Then the lights fire on. Like, what if they didn't? She was pretty weak, too. Like,
he was a little... I feel
he's
like
very presumptuous.
You should have waited for the lights to come on before
saying that. Yeah.
And also... they're really assuming an awful lot that fake light and natural light are the same thing. But there you go.
But it works. Headlights stop Satan.
Yep. And so
fuck you, movie.
It interrupts the entire thing. But it doesn't kill the Warlock. The Warlock falls down.
He hates it though.
He's mad. But then he comes over and does what kind of we all wanted to do to Kenny this whole time and just bashes his head against the tree. Yep. I thought he was going to kill him. I was actually kind of waiting for him to just bash his head in.
Yeah.
But he smacks him a bunch of times, and then he's like, no, I know a much more fitting punishment for you. And he pulls out the dagger that he stole.
And he Bond villains it up, freaking dancing in front of his face and chest, and just got him.
But more than that, you don't need that. It doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah.
Its entire purpose is to kill you.
A kitchen knife could do the job you're doing right now.
Right. The only thing that having that on your person could do is
kill
accidentally kill you, you fucking idiot.
Oh, shit, that's going to happen. Isn't it?
So he brings it, and he's like, they say that this is made from the metal of the Holy Grail. And it's like, why?
It's like Superman carrying around kryptonite.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Why do I have this in my pocket? This is this is a good idea.
This is really stupid. And he dicks around, and he's getting real like sexy with him. He's like dragging it over him,
and then kiss.
And then he headbutts him. Kenny headbutts the Warlock, which drives him backwards. He drops the knife, and then Kenny psychically picks it up. And then they have a battle of wills.
And we're right back to Scanner's Cop 2 territory.
We're back to Scanner Cop with a really shitty cartoon of a knife in the middle.
Yeah, imagine Scanners, but there's just a cartoon knife that keeps going back and forth.
And that's pretty much it. And he's like, I can't keep doing this. And she's like, oh God, fine, I'll do everything. And she takes control of the knife, sticks it in the Warlock, and begin Toxic Meltdown 2 with a real like total street trash meltdown.
Yep.
And he turns into a pile of goo again, just like Stripe.
Looks awesome.
At the end of Gremlins. Yeah. And
So again, man, headlights and headbutts.
Yep.
Those saved the planet.
So he's dead. He's just like a kind of a skull with a little bit of worms on it. And the two warriors live to fight another day. Sam goes to get the stones.
They
and
almost
picks them
walk
up.
away without him.
They almost forget them. Listen, I mean, he's had a bunch of head trauma, so
okay, and he's an idiot to begin with.
and he's an idiot to begin with.
She remembers them, luckily.
She remembers them, and then a hand reaches out from the grave and takes away the birthstone.
Again.
Which
I don't get it, because the birthstone seemed to be the thing that went on the neck that impregnated the girl in the beginning of the movie to actually birth the Warlock.
Right.
What good is that going to do Warlock if it's underground? Like,
I don't know. Maybe he can find a way to get it to somebody else before the next whatever. Who fucking cares? It's dumb. Either way, they walk off into the sunset.
You think he'd want her to have that because there's a chance of it going on
right,
somebody's neck one day.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with it, dipshit skeleton arm?
Well, I mean, it's that same old, like, fucking encase it in concrete and metal and drop it into the Marianas Trench, maybe? How about that? But either way, they don't do that. And so we get this last shot that is even more confusing than maybe everything else in the movie so far. We Evil Dead back to where the stones were, or to where the devil was coming out of the hole, and it stops. Roll credits.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't open up.
No, but it did that cool painting thing again.
Did the painting thing. Yeah, the painting thing is stupid. That weird Evil Dead shot was dumb. I don't understand any of that, but I still love this movie.
I love it too. It's super fun.
I've spent this entire time criticizing the shit out of this movie.
I'll watch it again and again.
I will watch this movie many more times, and it is... I mean, I feel like this movie would be about half as good with any other actor playing the Warlock.
Yep.
Like, I think
Sands makes it.
I think Julian Sands, there really isn't much of a movie without Julian Sands. There's some great effects. There's some other cool stuff. It's just...
There's great effects. There's wonk effects.
There's some wonky effects. There's, you know, like, the practical stuff all looks good, but then the other stuff
humor
is
falls flat a lot when it's not Sands-based.
Yeah.
And it even does fall flat sometimes when it is Sands-based. But...
The Wild West.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Sure.
Okay.
I squished a bunny.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
what
the line.
What if he urkled? Oh, did I do that? Oops, squished a bunny.
Looks like you took a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Yes! Billion lines better than the Wild Wild West, where we run over rabbits accidentally. The cowboy way.
Texas style. That's what he should have said. He should have been like, I done killed that bunny. Texas style.
Oh, it's the 90s. He could be like, I should spin around and take that to the Roadkill Cafe.
Ooh, I did that to the extreme. And then he slams a surge. Yeah.
I can't fly without my Mountain Dew. Get vertical.
Warlock 2, get vertical. You know, if this series had continued with Julian Sands, I guarantee he would have snowboarded in it by the 5th one. By number 5, he would have been snowboarding, and I think
totally
it would have been
watch
great.
Warlock Ski Vacation. Warlock Ski Horror sounds awesome.
It really does. You know, that is a genre that I've never seen done right.
Ski movies?
I've never seen... There's a couple. There's like probably 5 ski horror movies that I can think of that are like ski vacations. But they never do it... Like, it should be done like fucking Piranha. Like the modern
like
Piranha
super
movies.
fun,
like
yeah.
Piranha 3 Double
most
D
of them are
or whatever.
grim, yeah.
They're usually just like, oh, all the power goes out and now we're not doing anything. Why isn't it like a fucking sex romp with a bunch of jacuzzis and then there's like a Yeti killing people? Instead, it's just like usually boring and then the Yeti's in the woods or whatever.
Usually like, oh, skier broke his leg and he's in pain.
Oh, I hate that stuff too. So boring. But you know what? Warlock 2.
Warlock 2 is awesome.
That's great.
Go check it out.
It's a great piece of crap. Watch it. If you like crap like we like crap, you're going to fucking love it.
If you like crap like we like crap, you're probably here right now.
Yes, that's true. That's probably just the two of us.
It's not like you've listened to all our shows and you're like, they're probably going to do something from A24 this week.
Eventually, it's going to get good. Eventually, they're going to do a good
Eventually, they're
movie.
going to cover like a really good movie.
Yeah.
Like The Lighthouse.
I did like The Lighthouse.
Fuck you.
The Lighthouse is a crap movie, too. Like, I think that's a funny movie in that it is dumb. Like, I think that's probably the funniest movie A24 ever did. But that's a whole other podcast. Anyway.
I'm not going to do.
Let's see. We're at Coast City Comics, broadcasting live.
In Portland, Maine.
Yeah, and in Portland, Maine.
Come in the store and say hi.
Yes, or buy things from us online.
If you don't want to say hi.
If you are not local enough to do
shy.
so. If you're one of the 450 jillion people in North Carolina who know who we are for some reason, I do not understand the North Carolina connection.
Really? Maybe that's a Bobby thing.
I don't know what it is, but somehow, like, the number of orders that we get in this store from North Carolina, out of control.
Huh.
Out of control.
Keep it up, guys.
It's like probably 50% of our orders online from are across the country. If it's not from Maine, 50% of the other orders are from North Carolina. No clue why that is.
Damn. I bet you're not complaining.
No, I'm into it because they're still kind of in our shipping zone too.
Yep.
So it's not like astronomically expensive to mail there.
Cool.
So yeah, buy stuff at coastcitycomics.com. Follow us at Coast City Comics and at the Funbox Monster Podcast.
And I am Matt Awkward, VHS Fiend on the Instagram, and check out the Video Vagrants group on Facebook.
Yeah, and if you've made it this far, if you listen to this 2-hour-long podcast about Warlock 2, a half hour at least longer than the movie Warlock 2.
What happened?
If you have made it this far, please rate and review us because clearly there's something going on.
Unless your review says, like, these guys just won't shut up. And I'm, like, super OCD, so I've got to listen to the end.
Oh, that would make me sad. I would feel very bad.
They made me late for work. I lost my job, all because I wanted to hear about Warlock 2.
Well,
and all they did was crap on it. They say they loved it. That doesn't sound like love.
It was my favorite movie. Anyway, yes. Please
Signed
do that,
Anthony
though.
Hickox.
Yes. Oh, I hope he doesn't listen to this because we did kind of shit on some stuff.
But we love his movie.
But I do love him too.
Oh yeah, same.
It's just in general. It's like all of this stuff.
Oh, we've done. He did Sundown too, right?
He did fucking Sundown.
Sundown, Waxwork 2.
Gotta do Waxwork, man.
Yes,
I fucking love those movies. Oh, I think I like Waxwork 2 more than 1, but because of Bruce Campbell probably. The subplot with the weird Marquis de Sade shit is a little wonky. It gets a little iffy in there some places, but still pretty good. Oh man, maybe that's next.
Yeah,
interesting. All right. Anyway, thank you all for listening. We love you all, and good night.
Faces.